Welcome to Venezuela. Once the richest jewel in Latin America, it's now a country drowning in political and economic chaos. A state with the largest oil reserves in the world is now so impoverished that it cannot feed its own people.
Even if I die, it's worth it. How long is this going to go on for? We're a hungry country.
As his people rage, President Nicolás Maduro's grip on power has grown increasingly desperate. All opposition is being systematically crushed. It's feared a new constitution will extinguish democracy and establish a dictatorship.
Ninguna constitución es intocable para siempre. No podemos reducir la violencia.
As the battle for Venezuelan democracy reaches boiling point, the BBC has heard disturbing allegations of state torture against demonstrators.
Several officers there told us we're going to give you the shock treatment.
For Venezuelans, long accustomed to economic hardship, the assault on their democracy is proving the final straw.
Son días sí muy peligrosos. Es que la única opción que le queda es tomar la justicia en sus propias manos.
I've been to Caracas to meet the resistance to the Maduro regime and to find out what future lies in store for this troubled country. If you want to find out who's behind a demonstration, head to a university. This is UCV, the largest university in Venezuela. I was a student here myself. In my day, we were protesting against the rise in the bus fare. Today, it's a rather more desperate story. In a quiet room on the campus, I meet 4 young protesters. They have disguised their identities, and we have changed their voices to protect them.
The way I see it, the resistance is everybody who is against the regime. Many people see it as a dictatorship. At the moment, they are even trying to change our constitution.
I think the resistance is those people who come out to protest and who are willing to take the lead to confront the police or the National Guard.
It's not like there's this little group of resistance over here and a group of normal people over there. No, we are all the resistance, and we are all against what's happening.
Some have labeled us as terrorists, but I think that all of us youth who make up the resistance are brave fighters. We are defending our people from the government's brutal repression.
Vamos, vamos! The students are known as escuderos, or shield bearers. Young men and women like them see their role in the resistance as protecting the ordinary people who demonstrate every day from the National Guard.
We're going to meet a resistance group at Las Mercedes. Then we move to the place where it normally kicks off.
Every protest march is accompanied by the escuderos. And when the police move in to stop a march, the escuderos will move forward and confront them.
They never allow us to make it as far as where the march is meant to end. They use the excuse that we would destroy the whole city.
Our role is also to secure ground, because just as the police and the National Guard are trying to push us back, we also have to try and seize our chances to advance.
My job is to pick up any fallen helmets or gloves, to retrieve them and get them back to the boys, or to be looking out for them, or collecting the stones, or whatever. It's not just a matter of marching forward and that's it. It's really about everyone's duty.
There is a naivety about some of their actions, but it's clear they are brave. Most of the dozens who have died in this wave of protests are those at the front. But there is a little resentment that they have been allotted this role in Venezuela's struggle for democracy at such a young age.
It shouldn't be just up to us to get out there representing 40-somethings or 30-somethings. I mean, they have to come out as well.
I think we suffer the worst of the government's decisions, and that's why we haven't any choice if we want to gain our independence, to move forward and make a life for ourselves.
What I've noticed in most of the marches, most of those at the front are just really young kids. To be honest, I don't think they should be there. I mean, you're supposed to fight for your children's future. You shouldn't get your children to fight for your future, right?
It wasn't meant to be like this. By the time Maduro came to power in 2013, Venezuela's Bolivarian revolution, begun by his charismatic predecessor Hugo Chavez, was spluttering badly. Price controls and the state's seizure of industry had apparently failed. When the oil price fell, Venezuela's extravagant spending didn't stop. The country found itself borrowing heavily and increasingly reliant on imports of food and medicine. In the last 4 years, the economy has shrunk by a third. The IMF estimates that inflation is running at over 700%, the highest in the world. The people began to go hungry. 3 out of 4 Venezuelans lost an average of £18 in weight last year. Corruption, say critics, helps the regime to stay in power. By controlling foreign exchange, the government decides who prospers. The army are kept on side by being given charge of the most critical imports. The media is muzzled. In March, Maduro's Supreme Court declared the opposition-led National Assembly to be illegitimate. Days of daily demonstrations and violent clashes with the security forces followed. Over 100 have died and thousands more have been arrested. Then, in May, President Maduro declared that a new constitution would be drawn up. The government wanted to rewrite the rules of the game, and no one was asked if this was wanted. It's hard to get the government to talk to the media, but the minister in charge of food distribution, a key job in today's Venezuela, did agree to talk to me. In the Chavista worldview, there is a familiar bogeyman.
Cuando el presidente Hugo Chávez fallece, los Estados Unidos deciden retomar el control de América Latina. En ese orden, cuando apenas el presidente Nicolás Maduro ganó la presidencia, comenzó un proceso desestabilizador para tratar de derrocar al gobierno. El año pasado, la oposición dijo que en 6 meses salíamos del gobierno, que para julio el presidente Nicolás Maduro estaría derrocado. Este año han asumido la violencia.
It's hard to say who represents the opposition in Venezuela, but no one would argue against former presidential candidate María Corina Machado. Disbarred from politics by ruling party legislators, she remains a political force and is keen to be seen with protesters.
Estamos hablando de un país que tiene más del 80% de la población viviendo en pobreza, donde con un sueldo mínimo, que es casi el sueldo único, a la gente no le alcanza ni para el desayuno. En las calles de Venezuela hay hambre de comida, de medicinas, pero también hambre de libertad. Bloquearon el referéndum revocatorio, desconocieron la Asamblea Nacional y ahora pretende imponer a la fuerza una nueva constitución. Esto en la práctica es demoler la República. Y esto en la práctica es presentarle al país solo 2 opciones: o sumisión o violencia.
But María Corina Machado thinks there's far more to the resistance than violent protests. There's a word going around calling the opposition the resistance. What is the resistance for you?
Una es en todo el país. En segundo lugar, es multigeneracional. Y es transversal a todos los sectores de la sociedad. Te encuentras en primera fila a muchachos que vienen de hogares realmente muy humildes.
Señora, en este momento y a esta hora, te entregamos nuestras vidas.
You don't have to look far to find who she's talking about. Street kids like these appear at every demonstration. Their enthusiasm to take on the security forces, whilst brave, places them in real danger.
En el nombre de Jesús. Amén. ¡Resistencia!
Their motivation often stems from a profound sense of injustice.
3 days ago, they nicked me, they tortured me, they asked me who was paying me. It's a lie. Nobody gives us money. We come out because we want a better future. We want a better future for Venezuela.
Cuando dice que te torturaron, ¿qué te hicieron? Si puedes explicar un poco más.
They split my head, they hit me in the body, they grabbed me, they told me they were going to rape me. They said they were going to kill me.
Fueled by their grievances, some of these young protesters take considerable risks. This is one of the most controversial aspects of the so-called resistance. Small pockets of demonstrators at the end of the protest come to places like this, a military base, and try to attack it. In there are already scuffles with some people telling them, don't do it, you're valuable, you're a young life, don't lose it. Because over there, the National Guard is already waiting for them. One person trying to cool the hot heads of the protests is a senior citizen now known as Señora de la Tanqueta, or Tank Lady. She rose to fame in April by refusing to move out of the way of a small tank.
¿Qué sentía cuando estaba enfrente de la tanqueta?
Detenerla, que no avanzara, que no fueran a agredir a la gente, porque yo estuve como media hora, me lanzaron al agua con la ballena desde abajo y no sabía cómo hacerlo, cómo iba, o sea, si me iba a morir ahí ahogada, ¿no?
¡Retiren a sus grupos!
She was taken to prison and interrogated before being released. The experience hasn't put her off going to the demonstrations.
Siento como madre, consejera. Eso es lo que soy yo. No quiero que esos muchachos sigan cayendo presos ni muertos porque no hay necesidad de tanta sangre.
The stakes are certainly high for both sides, and the regime is defiant.
Aquí los violentos son muy pocos, y los estamos derrotando. Y ellos lo saben. Cada vez son más violentos, pero cada vez son menos.
This residential block in Caracas is called Los Verdes, the Greens. It's been a focal point of vociferous anti-government protests since April. Neighbours here set up barricades on a regular basis, and clashes with the police and National Guard are frequent. One evening, the government said enough was enough.
Entro a la tanqueta y comienza una balacera horrible del tanque hacia los edificios directamente.
Ay, Dios mío, esta mierda.
Margarita, her husband and her cousin who live in the apartment were petrified.
Y de repente ellos llegan y tocan la puerta. Yo pregunto quién es, dice la guardia. A estos vamos a llevárnoslos. Yo le pregunto, ¿pero por qué? ¿Qué han hecho ellos? ¿Qué evidencia tienen? Todo esto.
Although her husband and her cousin were released, the intrusion into their home has badly affected the family.
Mi casa, que era mi templo, ya no es segura para mí ni para mi familia.
Ahí vienen, ahí viene. Ahí viene. Ahí viene. Búscamelo. Ahí viene, están disparando hacia arriba.
But not all members of the tower block were so fortunate. When she heard the police begin their assault, Camila and some friends went to hide in a neighbour's apartment.
When he opened the door of the wardrobe, the man who grabbed me, he did it by the hair. He lifted me and threw me onto the bed. And then they beat the boys in the head. They really beat up the boys horribly.
Even though she told the police she was pregnant, they took no notice.
We were lying face down on the floor. Then they told us to take out our shoelaces. Then they kicked me about 10 times.
¿Dónde?
In the bum, in the legs, and they also beat the rest of the girls. They kept on beating us, even when they took us out of the apartment. they told someone, "Come on, I'm going to kill you right here, right now." Why did they take me? Because this is a dictatorship, and they nick whoever they want to, whether you are doing anything or not.
Camila was taken to some of the worst prisons in Caracas before eventually being released. Simon was not so lucky. He was arrested at a demonstration, accused of belonging to an opposition political party.
They grabbed me from behind. There must be 18, 20 cops that came down on me. While they were kicking and hitting me, they put me on a bike and took me to the headquarters of the intelligence agency.
Originally designed as a futuristic shopping centre, today the Helicoide is a place whose name makes even the hardened shudder. Held in an overcrowded cell for over 2 months, Simon witnessed prisoners returning from interrogation with telltale signs of having been tortured.
One got back. You could tell he was frightened. He couldn't stand up straight, and you could see the burn mark on his ears. And the other guy, you could see his black eye. It was all bruised, so you could see they have given him shocks. Later on, several officers there told us, "We're going to give you the shock treatment. And we're gonna grab those two and soak them. Keep them soaked all night long."
Simon was beaten but not tortured, and he could not get out of the Helicoide. Even though he received a release order from a judge, intelligence agency officials ignored it, and he was only released over a month later. Today, he's still trying to get back on his feet.
At night, I'm very anxious. Any little sound makes me very jumpy. I feel like I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm still worried that any time they will come and knock on my door and take me back there.
Far from being intimidated, the opposition are growing in strength. Whilst we were filming with Maria Corina Machado, an extraordinary defection from a Chavista loyalist.
This is the Attorney General of Venezuela. She's now playing a key role in this crisis.
Porque aquí parece que todo el país es terrorista. Y yo lo que creo es que tenemos un terrorismo de Estado.
The Maduro regime was not impressed.
La fiscal en sus palabras habla de terrorismo de Estado, habla de violaciones de derechos humanos. ¿Cuál es su visión respecto de eso? ¿Cuál es su respuesta a eso?
Mira, han muerto, asesinados en las guarimbas, más de 100 personas, pero de ellos, casi 20 son guardias nacionales o policías que le disparan con bazucas improvisadas. Y yo digo, ¿y por qué la fiscal general de la Nación no se pronuncia sobre ello? Yo podría decir aquí con responsabilidad que la fiscal general de la Nación, Luis Ortega Díaz, es responsable, por lo menos por omisión, de la importante cantidad de muertos que han ocurrido en las calles de Caracas.
¿Usted siente de alguna forma también que han fallado al no poder garantizar que no mueran estas personas, por ejemplo, como responsabilidad de garante de la seguridad y de la paz en el país?
Aquí, nuestra fuerza pública va desarmada, solo con escudos, protección y escopetas de perdigones plásticos y gases lacrimógenos.
Despite the government's denials, the Attorney General has claimed that the security forces are using unauthorized firearms. What's clear is that many protesters have been killed and severely injured by the reckless use of riot control munitions.
Aquí no va a haber explosión social, aquí no va a haber golpe de Estado, a pesar de que el gobierno de Estados Unidos quiera derrocarnos. Venezuela no va a ser Siria, Venezuela no va a ser Libia, Venezuela no va a ser Irak.
Many in the opposition believe that behind the bluster, the endgame is being played out. A recent unofficial plebiscite showed 7 million voters were against President Maduro, as many as had elected him in 2013.
Do you think we're in the final days of Chavismo as a proposition in politics?
Sí, sí lo creo. Creo que el fin del chavismo va a ser posterior a la salida de Maduro. Creo que hay un sector democrático que estuvo afecto a estas ideas, que va a reconstruirse y reagruparse con vocación democrática, pero dejando a un lado, aspiro yo, la dimensión criminal, militarista y autoritaria que este régimen acarrió desde el primer día.
The president, though, sees a very different future for the opposition in Venezuela.
Ya tiene su celda lista. Solo estoy esperando que llegue la constituyente. Ya tiene su nombre la celda para donde va este terrorista.
Whilst the politicians fight it out, the students of UCV continue their own perilous resistance.
I don't mind giving up my life out there in the streets if it is for a good cause. I believe I prefer to die than to live in this way. I will never be able to achieve my potential as a person here because the government isn't letting me.
I'm scared of dying. I'm scared of seeing someone getting killed, to be near them when it happens. After all, we are supposed to be fighting for the sake of living in a better Venezuela.
When you are standing behind a shield and they fire birdshot at you, the impact deafens you. It leaves your ears ringing. There's always the risk that by trying to see what's going on ahead of you, that a pellet can get through the shields and hit you in your eye. That's your eye gone, or it could kill you.
I always think that maybe one day my luck will run out. And I think about those boys who didn't make it back home. Every time I get home from the protests, I tell myself that it's a gift. Because many of my mates didn't make it back. They may be dead or under arrest.
This is a country that has seen many of its youngest people killed, injured or arrested. People like these are commemorating the lives lost in this wave of political unrest. Now this is very much an open wound and the consequences are far from known, regardless of who's going to run this nation. The government now plans to convene a new assembly to rewrite Venezuela's constitution. It's a future that many in the country are dreading.